Welcome back.
Welcome back. Lost my coffee cup
Cheers.
there. Here it is. Cheers, James.
What have you gone with
And
today?
for me today, this is a black coffee, which is customary to our listeners now. It's Americano.
Nice. Is that
So
inspired from my Americano Intenso that we discussed the other day?
it was very much so, mate. Absolutely. James, I want to ask what's in your cup, but I'm too excited to actually get to that question just yet. I'm so excited because today we have what our audience have been asking for. We have managed to engage via LinkedIn, a LinkedIn guru.
A LinkedIn guru indeed. And I'm not going to be talking throughout much of this because I want to get as much value out of our guest as possible. So I'm going to sit here and enjoy my white tea whilst listening.
White tea. So that tea is the opposed to a green tea.
Yeah, as discussed last time, I'm still on the white tea. Really good for your lungs, apparently. So I'm continuing with that, and it seems to be working. To be fair,
Okay.
it seems to be working. To be fair, I'm obviously
The
joking.
proof is there for everyone. But yes. So without further ado, because that was dangerous for a moment there, James. Let's welcome on center stage. Would you like to do the intro?
Yes. Welcome to the pod, the LinkedIn guru that is Alina Kovalchuk. Welcome to the pod, Alina.
Welcome indeed. How much clapping is too much clapping?
Yeah, that was a little bit too much. Thank you so much, James, and thank you, David, for having me today. LinkedIn guru. I don't really like when people call me a LinkedIn guru, but it's okay.
What would you prefer?
So I do prefer a LinkedIn advisor. It's pretty much describing of what I'm doing because it's a bit of a trainer and a bit of a coach and a bit of a bad cop. So I'm really playing the role of a bad cop for those who don't really want to start their LinkedIn game. And I'm here to make it happen.
I love the sound of that. So, and it's a intro we like to offer all of our guests now. If you can quickly then, Alina, just capture for our audience, in essence, who you are, what you do, and how you make your clients' lives better.
Happy to. So I'm a marketer who has turned a full-time LinkedIn advisor. Absolutely love what I'm doing. I'm probably one of the best ambassadors of the platform, even though LinkedIn doesn't really know that I do this for them, but it's okay. So the way I help my clients make their lives better, I simplify LinkedIn for them. I come with the newest knowledge of the algorithm, of the news and the trends, of anything that's happening on the LinkedIn universe. And this is what I do.
That sounds awesome. And you captured it really well there. LinkedIn truly is a universe now, isn't it? It's not just a nice to have, and it's not a single vertical platform. It's so broad, it's so expansive, and there's pressure, I think, on most professionals to have not only a presence there, but also probably some level of engagement there.
Absolutely. We used to say that if you don't exist on social media or if you don't exist on internet, you don't exist. So these days, it's pretty much true about LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist. And this is very important to be thinking about because LinkedIn is one of the best friends of Google search, which means that everything that we do on LinkedIn, we also see on Google search. It's directly reflected. It's being ranked very high in Google search. So every single digital footprint that we are leaving on LinkedIn, we are also seeing on Google. And exactly, we have to understand how the algorithm and how the platform overall works. And when we do see really beautiful results in really short amount of time. I would say some clients see really nice results in 30 days, some in 60, some in 90. But for such a big scale of a platform is really impressive. And
Yeah,
also, I
I agree with
do
that.
pride myself that everything that I do is organic. We don't spend
Good,
money.
good. No, and obviously this is a business for you. So you're not going to be
Yes.
wanting to give away all your deepest, darkest secrets within the dark arts of making your LinkedIn profile so relevant, and I can understand that. But I'm sure, I mean, you've mentioned about the algorithm there. And one question I wanted to pose to you, and one thing that I've spoken about, I know a lot of people that they would regard themselves as influencers, shall we
Mhm.
say, within LinkedIn. And since recent changes, their engagement, where it used to be, hundreds of thousands of impressions, thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, all of a sudden just seems to have gone and comes up my own personal soundboard there. That was me creating that sound, not our soundboard technology. I'd like
You
that
would
known.
never know it. You
You
would
never know
never
it.
know it.
You never. It was a Wile E. Coyote sort of inspired
Yes.
sort of sound. But
Love that.
why is that? Why is their impressions and their rates from all of their followers, where they've had previously really engaged content, just all of a sudden seem to have disappeared?
So there is a couple of explanations here, but the main one is the actual algorithm change. So before, the way the content has been served to us as users, um, it was that a creator has, let's say, 10K followers. 10% of the 10K followers would see a piece of content. Depending on how well this 10% of the audience would engage with a post, LinkedIn would make a decision how much further this piece of content would get promoted. Now it's a different story. Now LinkedIn makes a different decision about who we are as experts. And this expertise comes from two sections on our profiles: the headline and the about section. This is the information which is needed for LinkedIn to cluster us into a niche. And once we also provide expertise in a post to the audience, LinkedIn makes sure that our piece of content is being served to people who are mostly likely to engage with this piece of content. So think of similar story of Facebook lookalike audiences. So people who do have similar traits and interests in a certain topic are the ones who are being served our content these days. The followers count does not matter anymore.
And you said something really interesting the other day, that soon's going to really change and followers is going to be gone, essentially, didn't you?
We really are hoping for this metric to be disappearing from the platform, because it doesn't really make much sense to be really proud that you have 100K followers or 500K followers. At the end of the day, LinkedIn is a business platform, and I would rather have 100 clients and 100 followers out of 100 clients out of this 100 followers, rather than 100K and just one really good client.
So, I mean, just picking up then on something you said, obviously, in my day job, I'm a recruitment professional. Now, obviously, my audience that I'm wanting to engage are either active job seekers within particular niches or clients that would actively recruit for and hire people within those niches. Now, obviously, based upon my headline and about, what I wouldn't want would be that my audience became recruiters, because they're my competition. They're not actually who I'm looking to engage. So I'm just trying to understand what you've said there. So how would LinkedIn match me to my target audience being active job seekers and businesses who recruit, as opposed to people who have like-minded professions and interests in recruiters? Because that's the last thing I would actually want to engage, really.
That's a very nice question. And we have to keep in mind all the time that we do have actually two clients when we are on LinkedIn. One client, I'm stealing this phrase from Richard van den Blom. He's this amazing person on LinkedIn who is always making sure we get the best of updates in terms of the algorithm. He is the person who is studying the algorithm the best. So the way he put it the other day, he said, we do have two clients, the algorithm and the client itself. So everything that we do on the platform, we are serving these two clients. So we do the front of house and back of house work.
Yes.
So by the back of house, we mean all the metadata, all this playing by the rules of the algorithm when we have certain keywords in the headline and in the about section. But also we do have the real person in mind who are reading us, not just through the headline and the about section, but who are also reading us through the banner, through the content, and through everything that we do and say on LinkedIn. So these are the two different ideas that we have to have in mind, that we don't have to please just the algorithm. We also have to make sure that people who are reading us really get what we want. So in your case, David, when you focus on clients rather than recruiters, of course, your followers and your audience is going to be mostly about people who are looking for jobs.
Yeah.
So you work on it through your content.
Interesting. Have you got a question, James?
Yeah. So, I mean, so I had somebody reach out to me the other day, based on the content that I've been posting on LinkedIn, because it's amazing content. I'll be honest, I'm unbelievable at filming videos, and I'm very informative, very knowledgeable. So I wasn't surprised. However, this particular person has never really engaged with any of my posts. I've really never known they were there. So, you know, what do you call those people? Are they voyeurs? Are they, they never really react, or is there value? There is obviously value in those people, but why don't they like and react to posts and such? And does that damage your visibility?
So we call them lurkers. And these
Okay.
people, they usually are really afraid of leaving any digital footprint. So they would never like, they would never comment, they would never engage, they would never even DM you. But sometimes these people are the best champions for you and for your business because they are just quietly observing. They don't need you, they don't want anything from you. But because they've seen you for so many times and for so long, they are the ones who are recommending you and your services to other people.
It's really
Fair.
interesting because obviously, James, as you'll remember, probably a dozen episodes or so ago, I said that my traction predominantly comes from these lurkers, as we now know the phrase, who are quietly in the background. I've never heard of them, never seen them, never engaged them, nothing liked, comment, shared. However, they're the ones that generally turn into active buying clients. And I probably attract one commercial client every other month, which is my kind of ratio. So every other month, I will add one new buying client to my portfolio via LinkedIn. And to this point, it has always been those that I hadn't known about. So it's really interesting you should ask that, James, and hear from you on that, Alina, because I've got experience of that firsthand.
Well, the way I approach my LinkedIn is I've never approached my LinkedIn for using it as a selling platform. It's more for, with the organization that we work for, Wellity Global, we're working global mental health and well-being. We understand budgets are tight. We want to put out as much free content as we possibly can because our model is help first, success follows. We just want to help as many people as we can. The stats that are celebrated at our end of year are how many people we've helped over the money that we've made. And so I want to get that content out there to help people. And I always try to be really consistent with that because it's not there for a selling tool for me. I want to help as many people and reach as many people as I can. But I wonder sometimes if there is a danger of me becoming too consistent within that. And one thing that I found a struggle to add to that question as well is I want to help people, But my posts around my A to Z of leadership, where I give leadership advice, or my advice around struggling through January, seem to really nosedive on content, and I hardly get any impressions. But if I put a picture of me DJing at the weekend or a funny animal I've seen in the garden, I can get 10,000 impressions. Why is that?
So there's, again, a couple of ideas which I can share here. So the first one, lately, LinkedIn has been just bombarded with a lot of content, predominantly AI content, and people got really tired. So now, any single piece of content that comes from you as a human rather than you as a professional is really regarded as something fresh. You would think like, why is that even happening? But people really want to know you as a person. So there is even this, it's not very commonly spoken on LinkedIn, but people who are very good at sales, they do it. Every single week, they very seamlessly input a piece about themselves as a person who likes dogs, cats, horses, doesn't matter, or a person who really likes.
Tick.
Yep. Exactly. I also love them all. And this really balances out the content, and it also gives an opportunity to people who do not necessarily understand what this person is doing on the business side to connect as human to human, because, hey, I also love dogs, and we have this as a common topic, and it's much more easier for two humans to connect over a common topic that they're both comfortable in, rather than me coming as a potential client, maybe asking some stupid or silly questions. So this is explanation number one. Going to the question that you want to be as helpful as possible, and you're not always getting the results that you're wanting. There's also a very basic psychological trick on LinkedIn. Not many people are using it as well. So you really have to tell people what action you want them to take at the end of your post. And again, we have Richard van der Bloem, who has been collecting data and speaking about this, that up to 40% of people would react and would do that same call to action, the one that you're asking them to take. If you ask to repost, they will repost. If you ask to comment, people would comment. If you ask to share it with the audience, they will do that. And I can share a story.
Interesting.
Yeah. So last week I went viral with one of my posts. It was an offer to do a profile audit on LinkedIn. I got over 600 comments and 250 DMs. It was insane. I have never had that many people wanting something from me. But the thing with you would think I'm doing something good, I'm doing something very valuable, and it clearly shows that it's valuable for so many people. 2 people have reposted this post out of 630.
600. That's
because I didn't ask for the post to be reposted. I didn't ask to, because usually this is something that I do usually. So my content is full of value, and every single time when I see that I can be extra valuable to people, especially now when the job market is really crazy, people are losing their jobs every day, and if I can support somehow, this is what I would do. So it's not the first time that I'm auditing my profiles of my audience or the audience of LinkedIn, but it's the first time that the post went that crazy. And it's still growing. It's been a week. It's still growing.
So there's still traction beyond that initial hour or two that is apparently this golden time after creating a post.
Sure.
It's funny you say that also, Alina, because for me, I look at LinkedIn all day, every day, as you can possibly imagine in my profession, and create a fair bit of content myself. And that call to action is noticeably missing from the vast majority of posts that I see.
Mine too.
There's an assumption that people will know what to do.
Yeah.
But actually, if you aren't prompting it implicitly, like, share, comment, whatever, repost, whatever that angle is, then yeah, chances are they'll consume it and move
and
on.
move on. Well, so I'm going back to what I said about trying to remain consistent. So I'll always, I've taken advice from others, not experts at all, but I've tried to post videos. I try to post them at 11 o'clock every single day. I try to ensure that it is consistent within that it's only a minute long. It is the danger of being too consistent when it comes to LinkedIn?
So there was a time when I was very careful and following every single rule that the bigger creators would be sharing and my coach would be sharing with me. But later I just sat down and I talked to myself and I thought, okay, so most of the people and most of the creators that I know on the platform, they post between 8 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's about 80 to 90% of people who do that. I was also the one who was posting at 11 o'clock for almost 2 years. A couple of months ago, I shifted my posting time to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And all of a sudden, my content is seeing a different reach. So when people are actually saying that their reach is dropping, mine is growing. And I think it is because I have not been competing with most of the creators for the attention of the same people.
So you're not diluted.
No.
You're not diluted down at all. You are in amongst less competitive posts.
Yes. And also I've been speaking to many creators on LinkedIn who have also been following this rule for many years and they were not seeing results. And then they said, wait, if we think logically from the point of view, what is the end goal of this post? The end goal of any post is to as many people to be able to see it, right? So if you analyze when is your audience the most active, and in this particular case, the audience is active at 9 o'clock in the evening, my colleague started posting at 9 o'clock in the evening. She said, my clients are parents. They need to put their children to bed and have a minute to sit down with their phone and scroll and read and not be distracted. So she does that. She posts at 9 o'clock in the evening. She wakes up the next day and she reposts her post and it tracks and it gets a new engagement and it gets served to a new audience. And this is how she's approaching it. And I think this is genius.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it does sound as though there's still, though, in spite of guidelines, it seems as though there's a little trial and error, and probably knowing your audience is as important as following any guide that might be two-dimensional, not actually based upon your own audience. So
For sure.
there's going to have to be a bit of A/B testing here on the part of the creator. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. So at the beginning of this year, I changed my profile picture. I just flipped it upside down. And for 6 weeks, people have not stopped complimenting me that my approach is different. My picture is really bringing lots of traffic to my profile. People are interested on how even I came up with that idea. It's also a very good conversation starter because people have to react to something,
Yeah, this is a call to action to look at Alina's LinkedIn profile picture, obviously.
But it's I get it because when I'm cold calling people, I always use a different approach. So if I'm cold calling a client and I'm trying to get past the gatekeeper, and you'll get to that. Oh, I'm sorry, no, you can't put me through to them. You're trying to chat to them and smooth them, and the amount of times I said, I'm sorry, but it's never going to happen. That's been from the gatekeeper, and I've responded with, you say it's never going to happen. What if I buy you a Kit Kat? And then, okay. And if they say no to that, I go, okay, I'll go to a Toblerone. I'll buy you a Toblerone. And that just something different does spark a different response. And it's worked for me, I'd say 50% of the time. So yeah, just trying something different. I've never thought of doing that with LinkedIn previously because I've been so stuck to
Well,
You must do
yeah,
this. You must do this. You must, within the rules and the boundaries of what people say. But then these things that people are saying, they're not necessarily experts within it. So it's
just opinions,
Yeah.
isn't it, James? And actually, we used to get very used to the professional headshot, didn't we, on LinkedIn, which
Yeah.
was the go-to. And mine is most likely a semi-professional headshot. Thinking about it, a little while ago, there was a wash of sort of high color, so backgrounds, so a neon or a bright orange or green or something like that as a solid backdrop. But actually, again, you can kind of make the rules up as you go. And in your case, you're attracting attention because it's not following or conforming to probably what many other people might advise.
Lumina proudly sponsors the Quick Brew podcast. Lumina is your AI conversation coach, helping leaders manage difficult conversations successfully. Practice in a safe environment without fear of judgment. If you want to hear more information about Lumina and practicing conversations that count, go to wellityglobal.com/meet-Lumina and use offer code BREW10.
One thing I'm really curious about, Alina, if you don't mind, this is a bit of a switch away from your profile in that regard, though, and it is AI, specifically AI generated content. You've already referenced the platform is awash with AI generated content. And I think most people can now pretty quickly see what has been created by ChatGPT or similar, or what has come from the heart and is actually posted by a human. But I think as we progress now professionally, people are using AI tools, AI assistants, AI agents in everyday life. So it's probably unreasonable to expect that people will entirely draft and create content themselves. Is there a happy medium? Can you use AI and still create content that's of value, or are you betraying the platform and your audience if you even think about putting in a prompt to start something off?
So I'm not against AI. AI is supporting us and making our lives so much easier. But there is a very distinct differentiation whether you write the post with AI. So the idea comes from your mind, and the AI is just supporting you somehow structure it, or you just go to ChatGPT and ask to create an idea or spit out 100 ideas. These are two different approaches. Most of people who are generating content on LinkedIn are not even native speakers. I'm not a native speaker. So, of course, I would give my text to an LLM just to go through, check for the grammar, check for the commas, check for the M dash, whatever. And when I am the one giving my brain and just asking for a feedback on grammar, on structure, on making the sentences shorter, of course, it's always going to work. But if you take the other way, this is where the problem is. And people really do sense when it's written by ChatGPT. And at some point, when everyone starts sounding the same or reading the same, where's your unicality? Like, how are you different if everyone is sounding like ChatGPT?
What's your value proposition?
Yeah, exactly.
You should be able to convey that yourself. It's interesting you say that, though. And actually I hadn't, and it's because I've never been in a scenario where I'm considering it. I've never thought of it as an assistant to ensure, your sort of grammar, language, nuance that may not translate from your mother tongue into native English content. So yeah, that's interesting. It's not a cheat; it's a support, isn't it? And you're using it to improve and enhance.
Yes, for sure.
But what you shouldn't do is just rely on it solely to create and expect to have some form of viral explosion, because it's just going to fall dead, isn't it? Yeah.
You've mentioned that there's been an update. What is that?
It's not a good update. So LinkedIn does not want us to be using any tools which are embedded in the browser. And that
Okay.
is about any type of tool you can possibly imagine.
So this isn't just scraping or anything of that kind. It's,
No,
I
no.
mean, if you think of, you mentioned grammar a moment ago, lots of people would have Grammarly sat
Yes,
in
that
Chrome as an extension.
unfortunately, this is also a no. Like, you cannot have it. LinkedIn would be very against it. So this is
Really?
all. Yes, this is all the communication I have for now. That LinkedIn is really against any tool that's embedded in the browser. But we don't know how LinkedIn would be reacting, whether this would lead to profiles being blocked or this would get to some restrictions. But creators are not very happy. It gives a sense of LinkedIn not being very secured in themselves as a platform. Like, why would you do this step? Why would you actually not allow anything? But let's see. So this is an update from a couple of hours ago. It's as
So this is
fresh
very
as it
much
gets.
Hot off the press.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Hot off the press. In terms of what LinkedIn does like, then, because you've mentioned obviously they don't like that, but at the moment, what content is LinkedIn really rewarding? Because I post quite a lot of polls, and I would say they're often pretty well voted on versus
See, mine aren't.
comments. So I'll regularly have 100, 200, 300 respondents to a poll,
Nice.
whereas a post might get 2 or 3 comments or a dozen likes or something like that. But I've heard, and I've similarly had success with carousels in the past, so a PDF carousel of services maybe. What's LinkedIn rewarding at the moment? Or, in fact, are they rewarding anything, or is it just, again, in particular to the user? I don't know.
Doesn't seem like it.
So, David, a question back to you. When you are using polls, are you leaving the last option as your option?
No, I'm not, and there is a reason for that, because I see that often. I capture the results from my polls, which I post weekly, and I surface those into a newsletter, again created and shared via LinkedIn with a community that I've built up. And the reason I don't have your own suggestions is then it's hard to crystallize that, and it's less binary, it's less black and white. I've found I always have 4 options, or generally always 4 options, and they're always my options. But should I be leaving something that people can contribute to, because then that would create engagement?
Yes. So up to 20% of respondents would leave their own option if they're given the chance to have the your option button. So this is
So
again the
basically, where you
data.
put other and answer in the comments,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I'm with you.
Because they don't fit in a box.
Yes.
I'm trying
Yes.
to put them into a box, and it's for a reason. There's a static requirement that I have with the newsletter, but actually if I open up and allow an option, then that would create an increased engagement, and that would then expose it presumably to a broader audience. So it's not helping to restrict that. That's
I
good.
don't fit in a box either, unless it's one for an American fridge. I can fit in one of those.
Outrageous.
I'm loving it. So getting back to the question of what type of posts are being being rewarded right now, we have to remember that we have 2 different feeds. We do have the mobile feed and we do have the desktop feed. Anything that, and it's 80% of people who are using the mobile feed. So last year we had 65%. This year it's 80%. So the number has gone
80%.
80%. So this means that the infrastructure on or the inventory on our mobiles is different than the one that we're seeing on the desktop, just because the habits of the users are completely different. So carousels, long text formats would not be working on mobile phones. It's still okay to post text and image. An infographic is still working. Video, if you're lucky, it will work. But on the mobile feed, the most working type of content right now is short format of text, just text only. That's it, 10 to 12 lines. So it actually feeds on feeds in on the screen, so you don't have to scroll up and down.
So not the teaser that people often use. You know, they'll start a sentence and then just leave it, and it's almost trying to grab people's attention to scroll in. You don't think that's the best way to structure a post to engage people?
By all means, it is. So the first line, or the hook, how we call it, is the most important part of any post. So when you write your post, 90% of the time you have to allocate to the hook, and 10%.
But what you're saying is make sure that the rest of the content is only 12 lines long, so that it fits on one mobile screen.
Yes.
So we are picking up a lot.
These
of
good tips.
Here.
These are good tips, James.
Very good tips.
Because as I say, I often see, and I don't know, Alina, you've probably seen this a lot. I often see people with a solid hook, which is great, but then they will literally space 5, 6, 7, 8 blank lines. That's what I'm talking about. So I didn't articulate that. Maybe. Do you know what I mean?
No, that pisses me off. It really. So you'll see the hook at the top, and then you'll see the hook at the top, and then you go, and then the next line is, but this is the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Or I have finally cracked the LinkedIn algorithm, and then lines. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
They needn't read the post. They just need to watch our podcast episode.
I don't know how about your feeds. My feeds were a couple of weeks ago full of memes and just 2-liners posts. Like, I cannot stand them.
Okay.
I don't know. It's very strange. It's not LinkedIn like. I don't like that, so I report that. I'm sorry, guys, whoever is writing 2 lines and memes. You're all reported. I have unfollowed you all.
I'm going to send you a list of people to continue to do that with afterwards. I'll send that in private.
It's not me.
It annoys me.
It will only work on my profile, not yours, James.
Because it does frustrate me that when people put out content that isn't what I feel is fit for LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is a business networking community. You know, it's granted, yes, there needs to be personal posts so people can buy into you as a person, but there's so many people that I see that basically just share TikTok videos of people slipping over and things, and they're getting thousands of likes and comments, and it's like, but it's so lazy. You've basically just found something on TikTok and then just
recycling it.
And and it, to me, it's offensive. So, but then that frustrates you even further when you think, well, I've just put out a video about telling people how to actually deal with financial anxiety and stop being so hard on ourselves, and trying to encourage them and take positive steps to having a better relationship with themselves. And I've got 3 likes, and somebody that's just shared a cat falling out of a tree, that's a video that's shared straight from TikTok, has got thousands of impressions and likes, and you just think, well, what am I doing this for?
So, James, you have to also give credit to the people who are posting the TikTok style videos on LinkedIn. They have just come from TikTok. They're creating these profiles on LinkedIn with a reason, because they need a different type of audience. But it doesn't mean that people from TikTok are not following them on LinkedIn. So pretty much it's the same cheerleaders who are maybe 16, 18 years old on TikTok are following these creators back to LinkedIn. They continue promoting them and supporting their content. But it does not necessarily mean that they will get some type of business on LinkedIn, at least yet, and at least with this type of audience. I do get the frustration that, your topic is much more better and much more needed, and it saves people's situations, and it's a socially needed type of topic. And over there is just fun. But, people are different.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, Alina, then, so out of curiosity for me, because we are obsessing over, and understandably, we're obsessing over the LinkedIn feed. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the feed, the feed, the feed. However, there are other channels within the platform. And I know that I have made use of DMs and specifically voice notes within DMs. So recorded on a mobile and pinging them into target clients or candidates. I mean, strategy wise, are we missing a trick if we're not optimizing messaging and focusing solely on the feed?
We have to be present everywhere. So we have a couple of winning and growing strategies on LinkedIn. One is by posting, 2 is by commenting, 3 is by writing DMs, and maybe the 4th by doing live events, because then the video is stuck to your profile and it gets pushed by LinkedIn into wider audiences. So ideally, a very well thought through strategy on LinkedIn involves every single of these 4 aspects. And the real magic and the real business is actually being done in DMs. When people get a chance to learn you, to learn more about you, about your business, about who you are, how you talk, what type of values you are bringing with yourself, versus just a little bit of taste within the post and within the comments. So ideally is you write something and it serves a certain audience. Then you find new people outside of your network and you comment, but make sure that the people you are going and commenting on their posts have a similar clientele as you're looking for. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense, because you will be posting about your expertise and you really have to be attracting the right people. And then when these people become your followers and they continue engaging with you in your comments, in your posts, you take them into the DMs, you thank them for their time, for their effort, for their comments, for their support. And this is where everything actually is starting or continuing. So you are doing a very good thing by talking to people in DMs, because again, being a recruiter is a little bit different. People would rather come to you than you really reaching out to people, whereas this is the case for most of the businesses. But DMs are the magic places, that's for sure.
And that's
Awesome.
where I need to step up my game, because I don't do many lives. I don't send many DMs, in all honesty. And that point of commenting on people outside, that's some great points. Well, listen, I could literally sit here and all night and listen to you and listen to your advice. And
Likewise. And there's
it's
loads of value there. Loads of value there.
I'm very
loads of
happy.
value.
Fantastic.
I'm very happy to hear this.
One feature then, if we are wrapping this up, James, and I really want to hear this as well. We not so long ago introduced a feature called the Quick Brew bookcase.
Well, it started off, didn't it, as like the book coffee table in the dentist's. It's
Shelf.
evolved to a bookshelf. It's since gone on to a bookcase.
Mhm.
I don't think we're not getting close to passing a bookcase yet, are we, Dave? Or
Not quite, because I mean it's a sizable case.
it's a sizable book, right? So we're still on a bookcase. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so I'm
yeah.
clear as to where we are. That's fantastic. Thank you. Please continue.
But we can certainly do with one additional title to add, surely. So, Alina, do you have a book which you would like to add to our virtual Quick Brew bookcase?
Yes. My book is Pocket Full of Dough, and the author is Chris Doe. If you don't know him, my question is, why don't you know him? Because this person is the most creative, the most supportive, the most philosophical, the most entrepreneurial person I've ever met on and off LinkedIn. And we just had a masterclass with him yesterday. Every single word said by this guy is a piece of jam, and it's a wisdom. And the way he has written his book, So it's a little bit about entrepreneurship, about creativity, about philosophy, about us as human beings. The design of the book is really different. And you really want to mark every single line in there, because this is how we all should live our lives. With
Wow,
open hearts,
excellent.
with giving value, with actually believing in what we do.
It's uncontrollable at this point. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
So
was inspired. Sorry.
Sorry, when you said you were going to be at 100% about 45 minutes ago, David,
No.
I did say to you,
No.
don't make promises that you cannot keep.
No. Close. So close. Oh, so close. I love this recommendation, though. Sounds awesome. And actually, I haven't heard of Chris, and I feel
I haven't,
bad.
but I am going to go and buy that book because, yeah, I think from the way you described it, where you've got to be entrepreneurial, you've got to be creative, but you've also got to be philosophical and a decent human being. You know, the reason I've done so well in business is because I'm very authentic. What you see is what you get. Yes, I am a bit of a joker, but I love life. And I think that's an essential part to really having people buy into you. And you do have to be creative. You do have to be philosophical. So I think that would be a great read, and I'm going to give that a go.
before you go
100%.
and buy any books, you can also search for Chris on YouTube. His channel is called The Future, so the future, and it's a community, a huge community of creative people, and how he is supporting people lead a life they love and are being fulfilled in, and how they can believe in themselves and their dreams and the steps they can take in order to live the dream life.
So he does workshops, seminars, in addition to authoring and some of these live events, does he?
Yes, he does. And
Excellent.
I'm hopefully going to see him live in April. And it's
I
going
was
to be
thinking the
like
same
a
myself.
pinch me moment.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. So he's got lots of inspiration to you, but in this format, we're looking for inspiration from you. So to round up, another feature we have is our guest's golden nugget. So Alina, if you would, please indulge us with your golden nugget.
So the golden nugget from me would be always include the metadata or the alt text in every single piece of creative element that you're putting into your posts. This can be an image, this can be a carousel, this can be a video. So everything that you put on the backside of your image, you have to describe it for people with visual impairments, 1. And 2, you help the robots of Google search actually read every single piece of content that you put out there. And this way, LinkedIn will be ranking and showing you, your content, your comments as well within the LLM search and Google search overall. So don't ignore this. This is the best piece of advice. Make yourself as visible and as discoverable as possible. And alt text is the best means for this.
And it's also very inclusive. So I love that message as well.
No doubt, absolutely. And again, I don't do that whatsoever. I never have done. So you're saying just use this in the footer. And we haven't even spoken about hashtags today, but I mean, are hashtags even a thing on LinkedIn? I use them
don't
up to
use
5,
them.
I've been told, but does it even work?
No, they don't.
No,
So
just
don't
clutters
use
up
them.
the footer.
Yes.
Yeah. So alt text, yes. Hashtags, no.
No. Hashtags just show that you don't know the new rules of LinkedIn. So don't use them. They
Another
don't work.
golden nugget.
Double golden nugget.
2 for 1.
But no, I really, really appreciate that. And look, we've been for a long time, James and I speaking about LinkedIn, and it far predates the podcast actually. And we've enjoyed success and probably some failures on LinkedIn. Things that we've hoped for haven't happened, and things surprise you nicely that you can't anticipate sometimes. But I think speaking with you as a subject matter expert and as an assistant in that respect, it is really enlightening, because I'm falling foul of a few of those things and missing opportunities that hopefully now I won't going forward. So I really appreciate it. I hope it's been of value to our audience too.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Alina.
Happy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And if you want to, we can offer to the audience a checklist on profile optimization for their LinkedIn.
Definitely. And I think we should
amazing.
also include ways in which people can get in touch with you and to look at your services, because I think you can be a lot of help to a lot of people.
I would really love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
we will link all of that in the show notes. But really appreciate your time. Thank you, Alina. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what an amazing and beautiful human being, and what unbelievable advice that was. That's been an eye-opener for me, because there has been a lot of things that I believe to be true based on information that I've received from others, and how wrong I was. And I need to step up my LinkedIn game. I advise anybody that's watched that and found value in it, I'm sure you would find value in working with Alina. So please reach out in the details that we have provided.
No doubt. And James, you said amazing and beautiful person. I actually thought you were talking about me until you then went on to talk about Alina.
With your performance today, please, David.
Yes. Yes. It's been a tough one for me today, but no, I really enjoyed the episode. Again, our audience via comments and actually reaching out to us directly asked us to find a subject matter expert where LinkedIn is concerned. I'm happy that we're able to do that. I hope everyone's enjoyed the episode. And who knows, dependent upon response, maybe we'll invite Alina back for a second time and we'll cover some of those other issues.
Would love that, because I think there's plenty more to discover. But until next time, David, on a quick brew in my Goonies mug. See you next time.
We might even go there. On to the next one.